All right, hey, music peeps. So I made I guess it could be a dangerous discovery today. Um, so I know most of the record stores around here, and most of them, have your typical prices, and they, seem to be going up a little here and there. For the most part, some of them are like most everything in the store is $7. That's like one store. The other stores are, priced way differently. So you kind of get the idea of who you want to go to get whatever. So I've hit most of the major ones. Well, anyway, so I discovered a new place today, just closest to my house than any of the other ones. The reason I had missed it is because it's actually inside an antique mall. I didn't even know we had an antique mall. It's a fairly new place because what used to be there was a bunch of other stores, a furniture store, and a church. Because my band used to play at that church. They had a venue there, and we played there quite a bit. But that was like in the past 10 years, so I'm assuming the church is gone. But I stumbled across it on Facebook. Somehow I stumbled across something about music and vinyl and records. Stereo equipment, guitars, and vinyl. And I saw some pictures online, and I'm like, what that? I've never seen this place before, and I know this address is not too far. So today I went out and checked it out. And now I know a lot of people on here in the music community have talked about how antique stores tend to jack up prices. So I went in there kind of hesitant, but I wanted to see what they had. And like I said, it was an antique mall, which is basically like a giant garage sale. Lots and lots and lots of individual booths inside this huge building, like a flea market. It really reminded me of a flea market. But this one store had most of the vinyl, and I went in there first. Then I started kind of looking around and found that other places had some bins too, and nothing really jumped out. But the first store that I went to had hundreds and hundreds of vinyls, and they had a couple sections marked out heavy metal. So I didn't have all day to look at all the vinyl, so I went right for the heavy metal. And I'm putting things aside, and I'm putting things aside, and I'm putting things aside. Other stores around here, either they don't have this kind of metal that I'm looking for, or it is overpriced. This stuff I'm finding over here is under $10, $5, $6, $8, and I'm putting things aside, and I had a stack of I don't know how many, and I'm like, okay, I can't do this. I can't justify affording this, and it was typical stuff like Saxon and Sammy Hagar and Great White, and traditional metal, nothing major. Nothing really, Mama's Boys. That was one I wanted. But so I said, okay, well, here's what I need to do. I need to go through this list and pick out things initially. I want to buy the things that I don't own in any other format. If I have it on CD already, let's lay it aside. It'll probably be here when I come back. Because it was all just normal stuff. So I grabbed 3 things. Now, this first one I'd never heard of before. So anyway, I'll show it to you real quick. It's a band called Tough Luck. They're a Florida band. It's kind of an EP. It's got 8 songs on it. But they've got the look. They got the pink. I don't know, things with pink. 8 songs. Never heard of the band. Know nothing about them. But I bought it based on the look. I bought it based on the year. I think it was '87. I did a quick check on Discogs and found that the cheapest I was seeing it for sale was like $25, and this one was marked down to $14. So I went ahead and grabbed that one. I said, okay, I've never heard it, don't have it. Anything that looks like this, any independent thing that I run across from the 80s, early 90s, that looks like this, feels like this, is colored like this, it's going home with me unless the price is exuberant. The fact that I saw it on Discogs for no less than 25, I thought it's a good investment. I get home and decide, well, let's look them up on Facebook and see if they, if there's anything about them. So I typed it in, and wouldn't you know it, one of the first posts that popped up was from Rob over at Black Star Vinyl. He had just posted a picture of this vinyl like 2 weeks ago. Not even yet, like 2 weeks ago, middle of the month, talking about how he loved it. I'd never heard of the band. I missed the post. Never heard of the band. Bought it. What a kind of coincidence. I came home, popped this on. Fell in love. First song. By the time the 8th song was over, even the live song, the very last song's a live song. Even the live song. This is the music I like. It's just this kind of 80s, whatever you want to call it, glam, hair. I don't care. It's great. Sleaze rock. Anyway, this band just, there's a bunch of bands like this out there. So, it's no wonder. There's a lot of competition, but this was the kind of stuff that I was into. So, second thing I found was this EXE, Stricken by Might. Okay. Now, I know zero about this band. Absolutely nothing. But I've seen this album mentioned, I know once, I think twice, by two other people in the community. I don't remember exactly who, but I'm picturing Scott Waters. I think he showed this in the past few months. I think somebody sent it to him as VCLT or something. And I think the other person might have been Ron, Metal Ron. All I know is I saw this, so I said, okay, it kind of a corny cover, but it's 80s, okay? Here's the thing that sold me on it. I flipped it over, 87. This is when it was 87. I flipped it over, and you see these guys? I hope you can see that with the glare. I'm gonna tell you what. Here's one thing you can know about me. If I go into a record store and I find a record that looks kind of metal, if I flip it over and see any guys that look like this, I don't care how cheesy you think this is. If I see any guys that look like this, I'm bringing it home. I took a chance. Now, the other thing, I did not even know, and I don't remember anything about what they said, Scott or whoever I saw show. I don't remember anything about it. They said it was a little unknown band. I, for some reason, got the impression it was maybe a foreign band from overseas. I didn't look at any of that, except for I did flip it over and say, well, it was recorded in New York. So that's it. Seen the cover. I saw these guys. The price was right. I forget. The price was under $10. It's in kind of rough shape, but the vinyl was in great shape. The vinyl was in great shape. It's all, it's rough. I brought it home. I put it on. It's a little thrashy from the 80s, so it's nothing like what you would think thrash nowadays. I love this. This is the kind of thrash that I like. It's the raw, old school sound. This was great. Now, then I flipped it over as I'm listening to it. I'm looking at it, and it's produced by Carl. I don't know if it's Kennedy. I always say Kennedy or Kennedy. Immediately, I'm like, okay, boom. First off, New York, Carl Kennedy. He's a drummer for the Rods. I love the Rods. So, okay, these guys have it for me. Okay, this is, it's connected with the Rods. They're from New York. I thought they were overseas. They're from New York for sure, and they look like that. I plugged it in and put it on and love it. I've only listened to the first side, and then I had to just do this video. Anyway, they have a second album. I'm on the search for that. I found that they have a Facebook page. They are supposedly recording the third album now, or 2 years ago. They have a posting thing for like 2 years. Anyway, so two finds that I'm already excited about. Third one was one that I already had. I didn't have it on CD or anything, but I have a digital copy. Great White, Shot in the Dark. Probably one of my, maybe the second favorite one by them. I like the first couple. Great condition. It was only $10. I looked immediately on Discogs and online, and was seeing people selling these for $20 and above. So I thought, it's good, and it was in great condition. It's got the insert and everything. So I had to grab this. I put down things like I said, I had a bunch of things. There was one other thing that I wanted to bring home with me because it was kind of rare, and that's a Leather Angel EP. I've got it digitally. It's okay. I remember I had it back in the days when it came out. Actually, I bought that right before I joined the military. I think a picture that I posted in one of my previous videos of me with a bunch of records the day before I left for the military, I had bought the Leather Angel. It's okay. It's not the greatest. It's an all-female group doing metal, but they had it there, and it was in really good condition, but they wanted $20 for it. They had marked it down from 24, and that's the thing. I guess even this Tough Luck had been marked down from 18 to 14, so, anyway. So I almost came out with the Leather Angel, but I think I'll go back and try to get another one. Since I already had these three that I really wanted, I thought, I know this album. I've got a copy of it. It's okay, but it'd be cool to have in a collection because it's rare. It's an old album from the 80s that, female band. I think they went on to change her name to Lady Jade, something with the Jew on it. And they did some more music under Lady Jade. I have some copies of that too. Anyway, so again, if I find stuff that looks like this and I'm not familiar with the band, I'm gonna buy it. Now that reminded me, and it's too late for anybody else to take advantage of this. This was a couple years ago, but there's a lot of bands from the '80s, late '80s, early '90s that played the kind of same kind of metal, um, sleaze rock, that kind of a glammy, but not necessarily glammy. One of the bands I showed a couple months back was Shanghai. Oh man, anyway, love that album. But a couple years ago, I was told of a record label called how you pronounce it? Eonian, Eonian, Eonian Records. Go to eonianrecords.com. A couple years ago, they had a big sale. What they do is they put out a bunch of these bands on CDs that were basically demos or self-release stuff. Bands like Tough Luck would have been one of those type of bands they may pull up and put out on CD. And they put out a bunch of them over the years since I think they kind of stopped doing stuff up around 2010, 11, 12. I forget. The sale that I took advantage of was probably 2015. They don't have that sale anymore, but it was like everything was marked off to 80%. I think I bought a CD of everything they had for like $100 and something, and it ended up being like, I don't know, 15 or 20 CDs. It was an amazing deal. But it's the same type of stuff. Some of the stuff is still on there, and some of it sold out. But I wanted to just breeze through these real quick. I noticed that some of these are on Spotify. I've checked, and maybe all of them are. I haven't looked at all of them. But Eonian Records, Eonian Records. Check it out if you like this kind of music. These are the CDs that they've released. Top-notch stuff. A lot, the demo quality stuff is not demo quality. I mean, it's like self-produced stuff. Anyway, Ginger Lynn. They actually have two. They were sold out of one. I got this one. It's got 16 songs. Great stuff. Dear Diary. I mean, come on. This is my kind of music right here, people. Come on. This is it. Anyway, Dear Diary. Dr. Grind. Felony. 16 songs. I mean, and this is just great sound stuff. Charlotte. I think they had a second album too. Cold Shot. Sergeant Rocks. Since I brought all the CDs in from the shed, I have access to now be able to grab these and show them. Wanted. And these are just, these are bands that shouldn't have been ignored. But, there's a lot of bands like that, and this was late 80s, early 90s. Uzi, early 90s, I mean, when music was changing. Strike Twice. Sweet Sybil. Rattleshake. You guys got to look. Sandra D. Pistol Dawn. Murder Bay. This one stands out as being one of the ones that I've liked a lot. And then they have this compilation, Rock and Roll Rebels and the Sunset Strip. And it is 4 discs. A lot of the bands that we just talked about are scattered throughout here. Some of them these are tracks that are not on those albums. Some of them are the band. I found one or two that are the same band but different name, where they, instead of Rattleshake, it was just called Rattle something or something with a snake. Anyway, but it's 4 discs just chock full of it. Just a great compilation of that kind of music. Anyway, that's all. Wanted to share the finds I had today, and because I'm kind of excited, and I'm going to get back on and listen to the second side of that EXE album. Anyway, great stuff. Thanks for watching. And yeah, that's about it. I'm just kind of excited because this stuff is really cool. And now I got to go back and check this place out in more detail when I have time. And my wife's going to kill me. But anyway, I do want to go back and get some of the stuff. A lot of the stuff was just $5. It was like I said, Saxon and I had Saxon in my hand and Mama's Boys and Heavy Pettin' and a couple Sammy Hagars, which I don't know how they had that in the metal section. But anyway, and they had Dawkins, and they didn't have anything, that I needed. But anyway, they had a bunch of stuff that I wanted. Great stuff. Thanks for watching. Rock on.